In terms of our football team and Team 119, very excited to get started. Our first 3 practices will be in the evening because we have to win in the classroom first and foremost. So we'll have 3 days left of summer school, so we don't want to interfere with summer school. So we'll make sure that we practice in the evening. It'll kind of cut short our meetings in preparation for training camp, and it's a very relatively short training camp with the early start to school this year, so we have to obviously make every day count. But this is the exciting time because you're really building your identity. You're forming your habits with everything about your football team, your team chemistry, your toughness, everything that goes into building of a football team. It all really starts in training camp because now your entire team is here. And for us, we were set back a little bit this spring with the 13 individuals being held out of spring football, so we'll be excited to get them back, and they're going to have to play catch-up, so to speak, not just physically but mentally as well. And I've said it, is we just can't be a year older. We have to be a year better. We have to learn from our past experiences. We have to be a year wiser. And what do I mean by that? It's total understanding of situational football. That's the next elevation, the next phase of development with this football team. How do we handle sudden change? We did not do a very good job last year of really handling sudden change from a defensive perspective, but also from an offensive perspective too. And so we're going to make sure that we talk about sudden change, the importance of field position. We always talk about hidden yardage, and for every 100 yards of hidden yardage, that's worth 7 points in a football game. So our team really understanding the importance of a strong kicking game in playing field position, because we really believe we're going to be in a lot of close games this year, and that's the difference between winning and losing. So our players understanding field position, along with field position, is down and distance. Down and distance recognition, understanding kind of the flavor or the nuances that go behind play calling, whether it's offense and defense, in terms of down and distance and waist downs and shot downs and all those things that go into it. And then the fourth area is red zone. You know, we always talk about owning the red zone, and on defense, forcing your opponents to kick field goals, and offensively, scoring touchdowns. And when you look at our SEC competition on offense, we were 27% scoring touchdowns in the red zone. That's inexcusable. We need to score touchdowns in the red zone, and I believe defensively, we were in red zone defense 34 times last year, and we gave up 32 scores. So that's going to be a point of contention. That's going to be a point of that we'll continue to illustrate throughout the course of training camp. We've always invested in it, but we'll continue to invest on it even more. The other thing is, who are our playmakers? You know, who's going to be the individuals that really step up and perform, make plays in critical situations of the football game. And it's not just on offense. You can have playmakers on defense, whether it's up front, whether it's at linebacker, whether it's in the back end, and our special teams game as well, our return game. And for us as a football team, still 64% of our roster is comprised of players that have been 1 year or less in our football program. And that still puts us as one of the youngest teams in all of college football. So again, that's where we're going to have to rely on the experience that we gained last year. But the 3 areas for our football team are leadership, its overall maturity, and our overall health. And our players have to do a great job of really being proactive in terms of getting in the training room, taking care of their bodies, really educating our freshmen and our first-year players of how you take care of your bodies, the rest, the recovery, the nutrition that goes into it. I just spoke about our maturity, but also our leadership. Now it counts. It's football time in Tennessee. This is where it matters. Now you are playing for something. So the leadership has to continue to grow with everything. The theme this year for our football program is my all. I think it's very fitting, is I will give my all for Tennessee today. And there's a difference between what we call a concept and a belief. A concept is just a concept. You see it every day, but you don't believe in it. You know, you don't touch that sign every time you run out in the field of competition because it's a good luck charm. you touch that sign because you believe you are going to give your all for Tennessee. So last night in our Orange Code night, every player stood up and they gave their one my all. And it was different, but we're going to hold everyone accountable to giving an extra my all. And we've spoken to our team about we have to get 1% better every time we leave the practice field, every time we leave the meeting room. We don't need to be, nor do we want to be a finished product after practice 1, practice 5, practice 10. We just have to focus on the things that we can control and be 1% better. And I will give you probably the greatest analogy of 1% better. We had a great turnaround defensively last year in third down conversions. We finished 8th in the country. We were 2nd in the SEC. Well, here's an illustration of 1% better. If we would have just been able to get one more stop on third down defensively, we would have led the country in third down efficiency. And again, that's the illustration of 1% better. What's your 1% every time you step off the practice field, every time you leave the meeting room? How are you getting 1% better?